Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Now, I know that y'all love, Tuesday Talk, Thursday Thoughts, weekend recap, all of that stuff. And that is not going away at all. I know that some of y'all can tell by the title that this is something completely different. And that is because we are adding a fourth segment to this channel. Today we are starting something called Couch Conversations, where I come to the couch and I have a conversation with y'all about real life things and situations that have either occurred in my life or just situations that have occurred in general that we get to talk about here on Couch Conversations. Now, this segment is going to be like a once in a while type thing, so it's not going to be as regular as, Tuesday Talk, Thursday Thoughts, weekend recap, that sort of thing. But it's something different that you get to see every so often. Y'all know that I love to have fun. I love to encourage and inspire. I also love to be an advocate for others as well, be transparent, as well as, sharing struggles at the same time. So this is how we're going to do it. I am considered as a big sister, a best friend to, many people in my life. And in certain people's eyes, it can be mistaken because of the things that I do or because of my character that my life is luxury. In reality, I have my moments where I fall apart and completely bawl my eyes out. I have moments when I don't want to have anything to do for anybody, because I just want me to myself sometimes, and sometimes when you're always on demand, it's just like, you want you to yourself, if that makes sense. I'm still getting my life together. There were many things I had to go through that were not my fault, such as a hurricane, loss, surgery, pandemic, all these things which have been back to back yearly events for me. I've been through too much anxiety, depression, heartbreak, and tears to the point where when somebody does something else that adds on top of my current, frustration in life, I feel suffocated sometimes because it's just like, it just won't stop. And, there's even many moments where I've posted selfies and, I look cute, but seconds before that, I could have been bawling my eyes out, Now, that isn't true for every social media post or story that I put out, because I do post genuinely amazing moments in my life, especially when I talk about church and music and friends and all that great stuff. And that's what this new segment is truly for and truly about. Of course, I'll be transparent no matter what on the channel, for every segment. But this is the place. Couch Conversations is a sacred place for real talk and conversations for people who are on a common sense level, because there are many teens my age who, they look like a teen, but they still like act and respond as if they're in elementary school. So that's what I mean by common sense level. Now, when I bring up certain things and certain topics, of course, that has to do with my life, of course, I'm always going to have the intent of being real, but also respectful. So with that being said, let's dive into our couch conversation. That was just the intro to let you guys know what this segment is about on the channel. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. So today in our first episode of Couch Conversations, we are talking about closing chapters with people. Some people close chapters to certain jobs, areas of their lives, all that stuff. But for me, I had to close a chapter in my life regarding a friendship. So basically what had happened was I was basically manipulated, and the other person was trying to become, let me put it this way. I basically was the victim of someone who was trying to be the victim of a problem in which they created, which involved me. That is so much fun. Now, mind you, this friendship that we had was a decade long, 10 years, like we grew up together. So, it's just like, why would my, at the time, best friend, like do that? Someone that I've known the majority of my life and someone who I've shared literally almost everything with is now switching up on me. Like, what's going on? At first, I just tolerated it because, this is my friend, and I was just trying to be in the optimistic mindset at that time, y'all know how we love to, keep friends and, think everything gonna work out and things like that. But once I was given the opportunity to share how I felt by the other person, and then what I was told basically was, well, I had my reasons, and proceeded to list those reasons. And I was sitting there and I'm like, that's a whole lie. Like, when you try to tell me certain stuff, you can't lie to me. Cause either way, through somebody, through text messages, through chats, through somebody gonna tell me, or I'm just gonna figure it out myself. And I knew that was a lie. So, I'm like, okay, well, if hurting me doesn't hurt you, then don't tell me you care. In that moment, I realized that I had to get a grip and accept the fact that what I witnessed was a severe lack of maturity. I spent a good solid, at least a week and a half, 2 weeks, literally in warfare mode regarding this situation, because of course, we're in the same school, same classes, and I had to ask God to literally help me to use my words and not use hands, because when you've been in a friendship with someone that long and they know what you've been through and they know not to play with you, and then they do, and then they act like they didn't do it, that's a different kind of level of rage for me. After everything went down and things, calmed down a little bit, the communication between this person and I went down significantly. And in that silent season, I had so much peace. And once I was able to sort of, sit in silence, I was like, I like this. I was so involved in, being a good friend that I missed out on the red flags. And thankfully, I was able to catch it early enough to where I could do something about it. This situation, taught me that closing chapters is not a loss, especially if it's best for you and you're getting your peace back in some way or form. It doesn't have to benefit the other person, because at the end of the day, you are choosing yourself. And a lot of people, they're like, stop being so selfish and da 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 da, and you always putting yourself first. And self-care in this season is so necessary. Like, it's not a joke anymore. Like, putting ourselves first is not selfish, it's necessary, because we can't be anything to anybody else if we aren't everything to ourselves first. And that's facts. Another thing that I observed or learned about this closing chapter season in my life is that my best friends have truly been my backbone. Like, I always knew that, from the get-go, from day one, but it's something I don't even have to worry about. In a friendship, like, trust and consistency is like the number one thing for me, because like the past 6 years of my life have just had major inconsistent, things going on, and just reoccurrences and different things that were beyond my control. But it's like, when you go through certain stuff, you appreciate those friendships and those people who help you get through those moments. When something goes down with me, my best friends are usually like the first people to know about it. And if it's at school and like I'm messed up in some sort of way, like emotionally, mentally, physically, they gonna find the person that did it. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, like whatever it is, they don't even let me lift a finger. And oh my goodness, I love my friends so much. Another thing that I have learned in this season of closing chapters is that it's okay to feel a little bit weird after making a decision to say, like, I can't function. You you have to do it, but it just feels weird. It's like I have to put myself in the position to basically, call it quits. If you're someone like me that genuinely strives to see the best in people, in your mind, you know, you have to get away from the chaos, but in your heart, it's a little hard because, you know, you just start having these flashbacks. Because mind you, this was, like I said, a decade-long friendship, 10 years. One of the biggest things that's hard sometimes, you know, when you got to do something that's best for you is how it makes you feel afterwards, you know. I had to remind myself of why I had to do what I did, you know, to back off and back away, you know, and turn off my feelings so that I wouldn't keep sitting there contemplating and going back to something that I worked so hard to get myself out of. You have to know how to handle yourself when people mishandle you, you know, whether you get an apology or not. You know, what are you going to do when the ball is dropped when you least expect it? Like, how do you respond to that? I am extremely proud of myself for being able to recognize the red flags early, and not just recognize them, but being able to accept it. And with me accepting those various things and, you know, realizing the things that I knew I couldn't carry along with me into my next season of life, you know, it was easier for me to say, you know, see ya, don't want to be ya, you know. And the more that you tolerate the behavior, the more you get drained because you want to keep the friendship, but in reality you find yourself, you know, keeping the toxicity, and you don't realize until something happens about how much of a problem it is. I'd rather gain my peace and stay with my people who got me for real, than to stay in a toxicity type system of trying to wait on a friend to do right by me. Like I don't have time. Friends come and go. You know, I'm always grateful for when those friends come in my life and they're there, and I have to accept when the bond is breaking apart and when they leave too. You know, it's a part of life. You know, you have to make those changes for yourself. So that you can live your best life and devote your attention to the things that fulfill you and make you the person that you are. You know, I had to make the selfless decision to, you know, put myself first mentally and emotionally. Why would I stay in a relationship, or friendship, I should say, and keep tolerating someone's, you know, self-centered or manipulative behavior and invalidating behavior just to have the fake title of a friend? What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Pastor E. Dewey Smith, one of my favorite preachers ever. Y'all know I love watching House of Hope Atlanta every single Sunday. But he said this in his What is 4th of July to a Slave sermon back in summer 2021. And he had said this, and it really blessed me. And it is something that I have never forgotten ever since that sermon. He said, once God has given you freedom from a certain situation, don't let anything or anybody, including yourself, put you back in that place. You know, and he also posted a few weeks ago too on Instagram, choose people who are good for your mental health. Let me tell y'all something, okay? I have the best friends ever. Like, they hold me up, I hold them up. We do for each other the things that we want people to do for us. And it goes, you know, both ways. And we enjoy loving on each other like that. That is reciprocation. And you know, I'm gonna be real. My new best friends that I met like a year ago this time, which is so crazy to me, it's only been a year. The friends that I met in freshman year have literally met every friendship quality in 10 fast school months than the 10 years of this friendship that I just backed away from. And I did not realize that until I stepped back. And you know, I'm not saying we didn't have great moments, because, you know, we did. We grew up together. You know, there were a lot of fun moments and fun memories and funny things that happened. But, you know, at a time when we were young kids in kindergarten, we didn't know what boundaries were, okay? We thought we were limitless at that time, okay? You know, as little kids. But when you grow up and you get to that place where you need those boundaries in your life, and you know, you're getting to that place of maturity and they're not set in place, because you haven't had those boundaries all this time, you know, that gives people the power to treat you any kind of way. And once that trust is broken, it's like, you know, I love you, but you've turned into someone that I just cannot handle anymore. Honestly, this closing chapter season has been so rejuvenating because I feel like I'm able to be just a completely better friend and sister because of what I said earlier. I truly feel like I am devoting my time and attention to what matters. You can't be afraid to close chapters. If you know for real that you ain't vibing, like you feel like you deserve to vibe with someone, if the heart isn't there, if the connection isn't there, if toxicity is there, if people aren't giving what they're supposed to give and it's affecting you, you have every right to back off from that, and you have every right to choose you. Like I said, it's not selfish, it's necessary. You can't control what people do or don't do, but you can control how you handle yourself. I never want to be in the place where I neglect myself only to find out that I've been missing red flags and something that I should have backed away from. So, yeah. That is my personal journey with or thought process on closing chapters with people. You know, it's a journey you have to think through. It will break your heart sometimes, but it will fix your focus, and that's what it did for me. I hope y'all enjoyed the first official episode of Couch Conversations. This was so good. I hope that to anyone who's having, you know, friendship mishaps and, you know, you know you need to, you know, back away from that friend group or that circle or that friend, you know, period, but you want to know how to move about, you know, that process. I hope this video kind of encouraged you to move forward with that, and I'll be back, you know, with another episode of this segment very soon, so stay tuned. It's gonna be really good, but until then, have a great day.